Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges, and joining me today is, I don't even know what to call you now. I guess officially you are the new head coach of UNC Wilmington, Bobby
I am.
Guntoro.
Hey guys. Hey Coleman. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
For those of you who don't know Bobby's backstory, you came to the U.S. to swim for UNCW. Is that right?
So I came to the U.S. Backtrack before the United
Okay.
States. So I came from Indonesia and from a small island called Bali. In Indonesia, in a lot of small countries, they value their Olympic sport athletes. They see their Olympic sport as the ambassador of the country, and they want to take care of them in terms of education wise and living wise. And a lot of us that involved in the Olympic sports, we come from a family that don't make in at all, don't make money at all. That was my family case. We kind of check to check. I learned how to swim from nonprofit organization in Bali. I wanted to learn how to surf, and I don't know how to swim. Well, I don't know. I don't have any board. I don't know how to swim, but I went. I go to the beach just watching, and every time, and this nonprofit organization teach me how to swim. So that's how I started swimming. But the Indonesian government have a program. They call it the long-term program. Started at 12 years old until the end of your high school, really. So if you can only get into the program if you're in the top two in your age group, and also in the nation,
Wow.
and also like maintain a pretty good academic standards. So I was picked when I was 12, so I moved to the next island. So since 12 years old, I've only seen my family once or twice every year
Oh, wow.
because of that. So by the time I get my sophomore year, the deal was they're gonna send me to bowl school down in
Okay.
Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, because they have a really great, reputation in the whole world, really. So the deal was the Indonesian government will send me to bowls and to pay for my education for 2 years to get used to with the education and the lifestyle and the swimming and get better in swimming, obviously. But at the end of 2 years, if I don't find a scholarship, I got to go home and figure out what I need to do. But if I find scholarship, I get to stay. So the idea is they wanted me to stay focused, stay motivated to, if I want to do this, you got to do your own. So that's when that's when I met up with UNC Wilmington. Coach Dave Allen was there, and Todd DeSorbo was the assistant coach.
No way. Had no idea.
Todd was my coach in college. So we have fun time together. So I was training like 6 months with Dave Allen's, and then my Christmas gift is moving on to the spring group. So that's pretty much my Christmas gift every year, so which is fun.
Nice.
So that's kind of the beginning.
Okay. So who did was Sergio at Bulls when you swam there, or no?
It was Jeff Popel, who is the head coach
of
the Florida women now. So he was my coach. And then my last part of Bulls, Rick Bishop was my coach, who is the associate head coach at Michigan.
Wow. So you've had your fair. You've been coached by some real legends.
Great coaches.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I learn Jeff Popel teach me how to swim 7,000 practices, 6,000 practices, and then Rick Bishop introducing me into more middle distance and sprint, and UNCW with Dave Allen is the old school, and then Titus a new school. So it's really very rich knowledge in terms of the people that I can learn from.
Yeah. So what kind of swimmer were you? You got to go to sprint group. What were your events? What was your best stroke?
Well, first of all, I was not a good swimmer. Let's put it that way first. I was awful in breaststroke.
Mhm.
I was solid in butterfly, backstroke, and freestyle. I was underwater kicker a little bit more, and I swim 200 IM as my third event, but mainly 100 fly, 100 back, and then I do sprint relays.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry, I thought I'm online on my phone, so people
Oh
are
yeah,
calling
no.
me. I thought I put a do not disturb. So
Oh, no worries.
yeah,
um, all right, so you get to UNCW. I'm
yeah.
guessing you had a pretty positive experience there.
Oh, positive. I think the biggest thing was the community. It was such when I went there, because Dave Allen has been there for so long, and everybody knows the swimming and diving program. Such a rich history of success in and out of the pool. And I remember that, as an international students that don't have family in the United States, they really welcome me to their family. Not only the swimmers and divers, but also the Wilmington community. I'm still in touch with the families that I taught swim lessons like 15 years ago. Well, no, sorry, 8 years ago, and or 10 years ago. That now these kids, some of them are about to go to college, swim in college, and they would text me like, "Hey, so and so is going to swim college this fall." I'm like, "Wow, that's amazing!" I remember when so and so learned how to swim. So I think I value those relationships. That makes my experience in Wilmington. It's just that's my home.
Mhm. And so, how long were you there? And then, what
Hmm.
what happened in the
Sure,
couple years after
sure.
UNCW?
So when I was done with swimming, I worked immediately with internal audit department at UNC Wilmington,
Hmm.
um, where it was I worked from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and then fortunately, Coach Dave Allen didn't really have any volunteer assistant coach that year, and I told him, "Hey, I'm still here. I'd love to be on the pool deck. Just be fly on the wall, just learn from you, just hang out with you, really." Um, so I came to practice pretty much from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and then just kind of coach every day after because I love the sport.
Hmm.
So I would go like into an audit and then kind of do volunteer assistant coaching, and then I went off to work for Deloitte for a little bit. It's more. It was an internship that moving on into a full time job in
Hmm.
accounting. But after that, and then at the time that year, Todd was already at NC State.
Okay.
Uh, and then Braden and Todd, contacted me, and they're looking for a graduate assistant position, and they're looking for somebody to fill in their graduate assistant position. And I was just kind of like, I have a good job. I was going to go back to UNC Wilmington for master. I was going to be a TA,
Hmm.
in accounting program. So anyway, I went visit Braden and Todd here in in Raleigh, and it was just like their really their interaction. It was just kind of, what I felt it that day where this is pretty cool place. I think Braden has something special going on in Raleigh. Where talking to Braden at the time, we were probably eighth or seventh in the ACC, both teams, and
Okay.
but I knew he had a vision that we're gonna win. It's just a matter of when.
Hmm.
So that makes me like I really enjoy that. How do you say that motivated feeling, and I wanted to go back to master and that learn more about youth sport, youth development. So that's what I did, and I just want to see, with my swim lessons background, with all the summer leagues, I'm really interested on giving back. So hey, what can I learn more on how? What's the connection between the sport, youth sport, and how they grow up really. So that's kind of like what I did for master program, and then a year, 2 years position becoming 4 years position, becoming fifth year position, and becoming associate head coach. And here I am now, 8 years later. I was still at NC State, and then this opportunity came along, my wife and I talk about it. And my wife is a big surfer. She's from North Carolina, living on the beach. And my wife, remember, I asked her 4 years ago before we got engaged. I asked her, like, if I move to Wilmington, would you come with me? See, remember that when I talked, like, you asked me 4 years ago before we got engaged. So I say yes. And this time you ask me again, I'll say yes.
That's so cool. So you went to NC State as a grad assistant in 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
2012.
Yeah. So you're there for 8 years, which is awesome. Did you before today officially, you were NC State's sprint coach. Were you always working with sprinters, or were you kind of all over the place?
Honestly, my first 2 years, Braden did a really fantastic job making sure that I was exposed to every aspect of the program. Mm-hmm. So, I was mainly working with the sprint, but I have some days that working with middle distance, and I have some days that working with Gary Taylor now at Auburn. So and the distance side. So and Gary probably didn't enjoy it at the time because I would go to his office and just kind of have my notes going. I'm just like, all right, dude, tell me about why you're doing this, why you doing that, So, and then obviously same thing with Mark Bernardino. Now, I just like, why are you doing this? What's going on? I want to know. Like, well, previous one they do power on Tuesday. Now you do power on this. Now you do 2 powers in the first semester. What's going on? So I really want to know. I really like the science of swimming. So the first 2 years were really bouncing back and forth, just all over the place. I didn't take a single morning off my first 2 years. So literally I go double every day all the way until Saturday morning. And once to make a little bit extra money, I was working as a part-time coach for a club team from 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. every day. So I would go from like 4:45 to 9 p.m. I get back, I would eat, and I don't know how I did this, but I would do all my grad school work as well at night. And I remember there are a few nights that I spend a night in the library because I'm like, man, I'm done at 2 o'clock. I'm like, well, I got to wake up at 4:30 for 5:30 practice. So I'm just going to find a spot and sleep and let's go.
Let's go. Nook.
Get some coffee on the way. Let's go.
Last time I was in Raleigh for pancakes, which was this fall, I remember you telling me, or the staff telling me, you didn't have a car, right?
6 years.
The 6 years you biked everywhere. Is that right?
Everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. Winter time is tough. Was tough. No, yeah. I mean, again, I'll be honest with you. I think, with my family background, when this is my American dream, right? And everyone's that living the American dream, they also still have family at home that you got to support. Even when I make very little money, I try my best, right? I call it like the 25%, got to go back home, got to help my family. So to me, like, hey, why would I spend money for car payment if I can help my family with that? Because, 300, 400, 500, that makes a huge difference in developing countries. So and to me, I think that was it. Really, you just I'm okay. I can figure it out, and it's not always easy, but there was my family sacrificed a lot for me to be here, and it's time for me to give back. So so that was it, really. But it was fun. I mean, it was I would sometimes get my coffee, and when it rains in December, oh God. And I know I wake up at 4:30 and I hear the rain drop, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna need an extra coffee because it's gonna be freezing outside and I'm gonna be wet. Because so I would always have like extra sets of clothing because I would be soaking wet, and it's not fun coaching and soaking wet. So yeah.
Yeah. that is so admirable and so cool that you were able to, you had that opportunity to give back to your family, and you did. We
Mhm.
haven't even talked about your family. Do you have siblings? What do your
I
parents
do.
do?
Yeah. So my mother is a teacher, and then my father works as he has a small. Well, he had a small company. No, I wouldn't say company. It's like a family business. It's a printing business. It was a printing business.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't work out, and they have to move and everything. But my mom still teach every day, and we try to do FaceTime almost every couple of days just to catch up. See, they don't care about me anymore; they care about the baby now. And then my brother, he is working in the film industry in
Oh, cool.
Indonesia. Yeah, so he is a partner as a uh, in a production house. So he's the business side of it. So
Hmm.
he's doing really well. He's making a name out for himself. So yeah, they're
That's
they're
super
still living
cool.
in Indonesia.
Okay. Nice.
Uh-huh.
Um, that's super cool. And so you start there at NC State, working with everyone, mostly sprints. I mean, I've seen your sprint practices there. They might be the most elaborate, workouts for 3,000 yards that I've ever seen. Tell me about developing your creativity. Oh, there he is.
Sure. I think it's the easiest way to explain it is really, I understand the science of behind it. I understand what we're looking for. But I think coaching in the sport and coaching in anything, or you got to create an environment where they're staying engaged. I think that's really important. The quality over quantity, right? Um, whatever science. So for me, it's all about sprinting. Is all about maintenance of uh, power production, really, right? So, and then however I build it throughout the week. So my Monday's theme is really a heavy power production. So it's going to be very short. Um, you know, not much more than 7 seconds. For a lot of times, plenty 5 seconds a lot. That's how my brain works. So like, okay, this is pure power. So everything above 5 seconds, they're not going to be able to maintain the power.
Mm.
So a lot of time repetition is like 5 seconds or less, 7 seconds or less on Mondays. And then on Tuesday is going to be a little bit more. Different coaches call it different ways. It's more people talking about speed endurance or like repeat 50s or whatever. But in my mind, it's like, okay, if Monday we focus on the really high end power, on Tuesday I want to focus on a little bit still power production, but it's not as high power, but a little bit below that. So the duration is going to be maybe 7 to 15 seconds, and still that explosive work, but not as high quality as Monday. And then I use Wednesday as really focusing on what I call it is the heart rate. It's a heart rate health. So really kind of your heart is everything, right? And it really control your performance, your body performance. So that's Wednesday. Get off from all the power, get off of that high intensity. So really just focusing on the heart rate. And then I kind of repeat Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now that's kind of like in my mind, and I know a little bit more detail, obviously, and what we need. But from there, you can be as creative as you want because my brain is really working in seconds. It makes it easier for me to be as creative because you can do so much to those 7 seconds power production. You don't have to be swimming all the time, right? But leading up to that stuff, so we can still do some skill work, and skill work is very important. So I think to me, those are kind of like the combination of thoughts of what how my background in terms of writing practices.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and then obviously with female and male it's a little bit different, and um, yeah, I mean it's just trying to be as make it the environment as engaged as possible because it's so hard. As the sport is so hard. So if they're staying engaged for an hour and a half, we're great, we're good. So I think that's kind of the goal every time.
Yeah. which that makes sense. The more coaches I talk to, yeah, the more it sounds like swimming's not fun, and it's
Yeah.
our job to make it fun. So in your time at NC State, you
Yeah.
know, we've from the outside looking in, there was a lot of great athletes that you guys worked with. From your perspective, was there an athlete or two that did things in practice that made your jaw go slack? That just you were like, what? On a weekly or daily
Sure.
basis.
I just see a lot of moment where, yeah, I think, well, I think my first few years was really opening up my eyes a little bit more, where I never really exposed to that type of talented athletes before, I would remember, like, so for somebody pushing 47 and for a guy in 100 freestyle and girls to push like 52, 53 in 100 freestyle in practice, I'm like, what just happened here, and
Yeah.
then and then you got a set of group of people in 2016. There was freshmen like the Ryan Hell class and Hennessy Stewart, and Anton Ibsen. Those three guys are in the same class, and they came in, they just started breaking barriers, and we were just kind of like, man, this is insane, it's just like, I think one thing that I learned about Braden is he's a very good motivator. He really, he can mix the emotional part of it, and then also the intensity of it. I learned a lot from him, just from standing alongside of him and just sitting with him, just talking shop. I think that is the big thing, because brain is very powerful. When you have a head coach that like Braden is, it's you're just motivated every day, and you believe that you can do something impossible. You just go for it, right? And then you never know. The worst come worst is you didn't hit it. That's fine, and we'll just go again. Just give your best, right? So yeah, there were plenty of moments that's like, and to me, I think it's a lot more great moments in practice than in the meet. Honestly, it's in the meets. It's fun, but I really enjoy being on deck at practice, just watching these kids, just going after it.
Yeah.
I think the moment that I really enjoy, to be honest, I think everyone who's about to go to college, be ready to hit a wall at some point. I know I make my biggest mistake probably when I was in college, and I turn around and rally around and turn. I learn from it and move forward, right? And I was fortunate to have coaches that care about me as a person. And I think for me, that is the most jaw-dropping moment for me, is to watch somebody who struggled the year before and then turn around the next year, just did fantastic job. I had a great opportunity to work with this guy named Luke Sobolowski. From Ohio. It's nobody. He didn't qualify for NC2A. He just missed it this past year, but he had a tough 2 years. He never gave up on me, and I never give up on him. We saw our lowest moment. Like, we sit down in the office, like two grown men, and just kind of like tear up. Like, I see sometimes emotional for coaches too, when somebody, tear up, like, this is the first time I fail, and I never failed before. This is the first time I fail. And I told him, like, that's okay to fail, but you didn't quit. You don't quit. So we'll figure this out, and one way or the other. I told him, sometimes athletics is it's very hard, right? You always want to think that you'll be successful in whatever you do, but you may not be successful in whatever you do in athletics wise. You may not get a best time. That's just the way it is. It's just world, right? But I remember my message to him going into this past season was, if you give everything, you're going to learn life lessons out of this experience. You will come out ahead. Trust me on that. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that. And you turn around, man, dropping from like 21 to 19.7, and you turn around from 48 in a 100 fly to 46.0, split 20.2 in our 20 medley relay in a fly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of the moment where we worked together for so long and we finally click, finally we never give up on, hey, it's a puzzle. If there's a piece that can't fit in that specifically, empty spot, don't try to just force it. Just gotta find the right fit, right, find the right piece for it. So that was kind of like the moment where he's done some incredible thing. He did a best time. He went a 47 in practice, like in January, and with the suit. I'm like, and he came up to me. I'm going 45. Like I was like, okay, let's go 46 first. 45.
Baby
So
steps.
yeah, I mean, but those are the moment where it's more like jaw dropping moment for me because wow, you did it, good. Like you did it, girl. Like that is awesome, So yeah.
Yeah. I want to, before we hit on, moving forward to UNCW, I want to hit on
Sure.
one more little point. I don't remember if like we reported on this or if I just, talked to you guys about it, but speaking of a low turning into a high, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Held made the Olympic team and then had a
Mm-hmm.
couple down, really not even years, just at summer
Mm-hmm.
nationals in 17 and
Yeah.
18. I know he didn't
Yeah.
perform the way he wanted to. And then
Mm-hmm.
heading into 2018 short course worlds that fall, you guys, kind of rewrote the script for him. Can you talk a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about that process?
Sure. It was the hottest summer, I think. And I take responsibility of his summer prior to that short course season. I just accepted the job, I think the previous year, and then that summer, and then I got married that summer, and it was really just kind of a lot of up and down. And then we coming into the year, we did really well, and then the following summer, there are some things that it didn't click really into, not necessarily swimming wise, but I think just combination really. And then it was a tough summer. It was a tough summer, and for somebody like him, he's done such amazing things. You only wants the best for him, right? When you see the result finish seventh, you're the first man out of the World Championships. It was a long night. We didn't really talk much that day, and I told him like, go spend some time with your family, and let's not talk shop, let's not talk swimming, and you've done your best. Let's move on for tonight. And then we talk about it. In the end of summer, we go grab coffee, and then I told them, hey, you know, I want to help you to find the love in the sport, get that love back. Let's fall in love to the sport, right? That's Olympics is 2 years at the time, 2 years away,
Right.
So let's just focus on, yeah, I love what I'm doing. This is fun. So I told him like, I want you to be open with what I'm doing here, okay? And I wanted to limit you in terms of what you do in the water, but I want to do everything outside the water. We always thought that he's never really hit his growth yet as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Our strength conditioning coach is a huge part of the program. Nate Brookerson, I sit down with Nate like probably once a week minimum. We go to this sushi place like almost once a week just for our lunch, just to talk about. But I spoke with Nate. Nate and I agree that let's get after his growth as an athlete rather than a swimmer. So we put a lot of emphasis on the weight room. Like I think he was in the weight room for like 5 days a week. Not yeah. In September, he was in leading up to World Championships in December. In August, he was in weightlifting 5 days a week. Now, keep in mind, he wasn't in the team in August. He was notified that he was in the team like maybe 4 weeks before the World Championships, short course World Championships.
Right.
So we didn't have anything in December. So we were just like, this is perfect, clean sheet of paper, let's go.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the big moment where let's let the athlete grow when in the water. Just really focus on skill work. No volume. Like I told him, I don't care how much volume you do, only 45 minutes in the water. But everything we do is like, you don't do any warm down. I don't do any warm up. I just full focus on whatever we want to focus on, that technique wise. That's it on August. And then as we move on, instead of building up his endurance or just heart rate, whatever you call it, I start introducing more like a salt bike outside the pool instead of in the water. So I'm like, hey, no, we're gonna build your aerobic capacity, but we're building outside the pool, and just to streamline it with being an athlete. Some great athletes don't swim, and they're great, so you can do that, right? Really streamline with what we do outside the pool. And in the water wise, I start introducing some speed work, just kind of introduce the fast movement a little bit more, some fast skill. So really, and then by the end, we only train in the waters 3 times a week in September. And yeah, that's it. And he wanted like, dude, like you're killing me, Bobby. Like, I want to get in. Like, no, you're not allowed to swim. But my idea is like, I want him to, wow, I missed it. I miss going back in the water. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving him the access to the water when he wants to, because the goal is for him to fall in love back in the sport, right? It's too hard, 2 summer hard moment. That's hard to turn around after Olympic gold and Olympic gold medalist. That's really hard. So for me, I was really strict when it comes to like, no, I don't care. Like, we're going 3 times. That's the plan. You're still working hard. You're working hard. You just ain't in the water. That's fine. And then we've received the news, and we move off to four times a week. We received the news that, hey, we want to put Ryan Helm in the World Championship team. At first as a coach, I'm like, oh shoot, we haven't done anything. What are we gonna do? but for me, I'm like, that's right. We sit down, Ryan, and like, I haven't done anything. I mean, not necessarily. You've been doing a lot of work. It's just you haven't swim 6 days a week, but you've drawn plenty of things. And heck, let's accept it. Let's go for it. Okay. And it's like, now, am I swimming like every day? Like, nope. You're swimming 4 days a week. That's it. So even leading up to World Championship, he's never hit the water 4 days a week. And in terms of training wise, I didn't really do any aerobic capacity in the water. I just do a lot of like speed endurance, like just really power production in the water. And Wednesday, typically, he would go heart rate capacity work, on a yearly basis. I told him, like, that's your rest day, nothing, 0. In the water. Wednesday was just like chill out, enjoy the day. That's it, and maybe stretch, do yoga, and that's it, and then we hit the water again. And yeah, it worked out really well. I think he swam really fast in Worlds, 45 in Silver's Mirror and 20 point, I think. I think to me, it's fun to watch him smile again. I think I remember we were in the middle of morning practice. I think it was morning practice, and we pull everybody at 4. Well, I told, like, we're stopping because Ryan's swimming like for finals. We're gonna watch this 400 meter. I mean, he's gonna win gold medal, I know, with the Team USA. So let's watch. It was fun to watch the smile in his face. And so that was kind of like our biggest job, I think, that fall, to put the love back into him, and he took it and ran with it. I mean, we were very excited to watch that 47.3 this summer. We continue to support him, and he's a great guy. He's a better guy than he is a swimmer. So that tells you about the guy.
Yeah. I mean, I remember hearing this story, and it again, just a great example of how creative we can get with swimming. Super cool. And then to the first session of the meet, to see him break an American record leading off the relay, to see him anchor that relay in finals. And, they win by 8/100ths. And then I think he was on every single finals relay at that meet, anchored like 3 of them. They won 3 of the relay. It was very cool.
He swam the 200 freestyle. He texted me. Well, he texted me like, hey, they want me to swim the 800 freestyle. I'm like, huh? I'm like, yeah, sure. Go after it. I was just kind of like,
why not?
Oh, I don't know if he's gonna finish 8 laps. Like, I told Rick, like, I don't know if he's gonna finish 8, but he went 143, I think, or 144.
143.0.
143.0. Yeah. I mean, so he was on pace for like 141, and the last week he was like, "Yep, we don't do this work."
Yeah.
But it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's yeah. Again, one of my favorite stories in swimming that I've come across. All right, so you're going at UNCW. You know,
Yeah.
you get this opportunity, the place that, in your words, gave you the American dream. You know, what are you looking forward to about getting to the helm of UNCW?
Sure. I think the big thing is about understand that I'm coming home, and I want to create this is my home, and I want everybody to know that, you know, I'm very passionate about this program. I'm very connected with the alumni. You know, there are so many text messages from alumni, phone calls, and from the alumni how excited they are. And I think that, to me, first and foremost, I want them to know. I want everybody to know that this is my home. And with that being said, you know, you want to create a stability for your home, right? And you want to create successful future. You know, we're talking in a sport where I think any head coach would think about, there's not necessarily just your success in the water, but also financial stability. And I think that's huge. You know, I think for me, that's one of my biggest responsibility. And I feel good. I mean, we've been in the talk with UNC Wilmington for a long time now that, you know, it's very stable athletic department, and they're working really, really hard to make sure that we can win. And I think that's, to me, you know, hey, okay, they want to win, and I want to win. You know, and I think my aspiration is to create the best mid-major program in the nation. To be simple, right? I think that's my vision with UNC Wilmington. We're a mid-major program with 17,000 total students in the institution. We're on the beach. So, I mean, you know, I think it's just the combination. We have a good facility. We got 8 lanes to Coast Yard, and then we got a separate diving tank that's owned by the athletic department. And we have a long course pool about, you know, less than an hour away up north in the Ocean Isle. Yeah, so it's, to me, it's like, okay, we can really do something special, right? And I think the goal is like, hey, you know, if you're creating stability, maybe down the road we can really work with the city of Wilmington, because it is really community. I'm talking about, Coleman, I'm talking about 1,200 people learn how to swim each summer. Kids, 1,200 kids learn how to swim each summer, each year. Can you imagine? So the community is very invested to our program. And I think that's great for the city of Wilmington. I want to, hey, you know, we're the best water town in the state of North Carolina, and we have a lot of straight flight to New York. We have 3 straight flights to New York City a day. We got straight flight to Atlanta. So it's a really easy access. So let's grow the sport in Wilmington. So I think, to me, the combination of those three together, in my opinion, it's really appealing for us and our family, and for the future of our family. So yeah, I think the big thing is I want to make myself home, really, right? And I want to build the foundation of how we can really build a home for the future. That's really understanding that every student athlete's got to understand that the priority is going to be put everything outside the pool first. We have to prioritize our academic, and we have to prioritize how we represent the athletic department. And when we have truly understanding on that, we will be performing very nicely in the water. So I think once we kind of have the big plan, the big vision. So I think now it's time to build relationship with every student athlete. So I think that's kind of the step. Like, I want to know, what's your major? What do you want to do in college? I mean, after college, you know, where you from? And let's not talk about training. Let's talk about you and talk about me. And that's my plan over the next few days. Just have a phone call, just get them to know me. And some of them's going to be on the call with my baby. The baby's crying next to me. Like, hey, that's Judson. So, you know, you'll be seeing him on the pool deck. So yeah. So that's kind of the initial thoughts.
Yeah. How big is the team?
The team is, we have a total 24 on the men, a total 58.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty good size. It's pretty good size. Yeah. It's pretty. They're pretty flexible in terms of we can go up a little bit more, we can go down a little bit more, depends on the year.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that it's not going up too high, just because it's we want to be able to give a quality coaching for every student athlete.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, I think you've said it all. But as we close out here, any parting thoughts before we go?
No, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job, and swimming has given me so much. It's been fun to watch the growth of what you guys do for the sport. I'm very excited to come home to UNC Wilmington and to help to grow the sport, and not only in the collegiate level, but like I said, teaching swim lessons for 1,000 to 1,200 kids per summer. You can't get better than that, right? So I think as a swimming community, we gotta stay together. We gotta help one another, especially in this uncertain time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continue, getting in touch with you guys. Hopefully, having you come down to the beach, and I know a great pancake place at the beach, and we'll have a good time for sure.
Bobby, you've got my number. I can't wait till I get to travel again. Hit the road and get down to Wilmington for some pancakes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, Coleman.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. We appreciate it as well. You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.